All right, folks, it's time to wrap up this first chapter here. We're going to continue on looking at the consequences of the way that society is interacting with the biotic community, um, inequality in the quality of life, talking about the distribution of resources on the planet. If you happen to be poor, your lifespan is going to be shorter than if you're wealthy. People in wealthy countries live an average of 2 decades longer than those in poor countries. Um, this means the United States as well. We were once a poor country. You look back in the 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, we were not living near as long as we are living today. When we talk about this inequality of life, we're generally looking at uh, comparisons between average nation incomes, but we have to really be aware that within country differences in income have a substantial impact on the quality of life of the poor, even in rich countries. So when we look at countries and we see them in reference to mean level of income, well, that can vary greatly in the actual income of the individuals or the majority of individuals in that society. Um, what we know is the gap between the rich and poor is getting larger. Globalization has certainly benefited wealthier people and corporations. Corporations ultimately are um, generating income for wealthy people. And of course, there's a huge disparity in ability of people to acquire most basics of benefits from a society, i.e., food, shelter, and longevity. The poorer you are, the less food you'll have, the worse your shelter will be, and the shorter your lifespan will be. I mentioned earlier rights and the beauty of nature. This should be a right for nature in and of itself. The beauty of the biotic community should mean something to us. We should not simply see the biotic community as something for us to take from. We should understand that every living thing has a right to a home and a habitat that is sustainable. We are an extinction level event. What that means is that our actions on this planet are making it hard for just about everything else to live on this planet. So when we talk about beauty in reference to nature, we're looking at sustainability of what we behold and the justice of the sustainability of what we behold. So it's appreciating what is out there, the virgin forests, clean water sources, habitats that allow multiple species to survive and thrive. And that leads to these threats to beauty or things like species loss and deforestation. It was once said in the United States when we first started settling North America that a squirrel could go from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River without ever touching the ground. Deciduous forests of all sorts stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River in one way, shape, or form all the way across half of our country. Well, when you drive or fly over or walk or bike that area these days, you see that the forests have been trimmed back, and in many cases completely deforested. Humans have had a serious impact on the tree cover on this planet and are continuing to. When you think about species loss, this next slide is a chart listing all of the species loss. This is really something you should press pause here for a second, folks, and kind of let this list sink in. Mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fish, insects, mollusks, crustaceans, mosses, ferns, flowering plants, lichens, mushrooms, brown algae. It seems like everything is in decline. And we are the main culprit. If an alien species would arrive on our planet and they would begin to examine what's going on, they might find that the planet itself, it has been destabilized. And when they search for the root cause of this destabilization, they will find that it is us, humans. And in my mind, their solution would be to remove us from the equation, and the Earth would return back to its stable operating system. A couple of last things to think about: the social constitution of daily life, or how we as a human community institute the many structures and motivations that pattern our days, making some actions convenient and immediately sensible, and other actions not. This ultimately leads to sidelining of environmental concerns and action because we just don't have the time to take care of these things. We are too caught up in reproducing our daily actions, which reproduce our monthly actions, which reproduce our yearly and life actions over time. And some challenges to environmental sociology to consider as we move forward. I want you to think carefully about how we as a community constitute circumstances in which people make environmentally significant decisions. What are we doing structurally to produce environmentally conscious, significant decisions? We have to create social institutions in which people take the environmentally appropriate action, even when they are not, at the moment, consciously considering the environmental consequences of those actions. And we need to reconstitute our situations so what we daily find ourselves doing comprises neither our social nor our environmental lives. We need to get to the point where making the environmentally sound decision just seems like the thing to do, folks. And if we can get there, then maybe we can start changing these overall trends that seem to be casting great doubt on our longevity as a species on this planet. If we do not begin to take seriously the changes that we are experiencing, there could be some dire consequences and widespread loss of not only the biotic community, but the human community as well. Well, that's the first chapter. Hopefully you all enjoyed what you're getting. It's going to be kind of like this the rest of the semester. So welcome aboard to Environmental Sociology, and I'll talk to you soon.